Are you wondering how to structure technology with your family so that you're not seeing it too much, but you still have the flexibility to use it when needed? We're going to be talking about a 4-part family tech plan that you can use at your home. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. In this video, we're going to be talking about the 4-part family tech plan that brings peace at home. In this video, we're going to talk about why it's important to have a family tech plan, and then the 4 different parts to creating a really good and lasting family tech plan. As I was raising my children, technology kept expanding. I remember the very first time that we made what we called our family standard. This is our kind of rule book, basically, the things we will do, will see, won't see, that type of thing. And we decided at the time that we better include a part on technology. I remember that we made some standards about how children would need to govern themselves related to TV and to iPods. Wow, over time, soon, before we had all of the children even halfway grown up, people were putting cell phones in young people's pockets. There were iPads, there were smart watches, there were so many technological advances that it seemed kind of hard to keep up on it, which meant that over time we had to come up with a new family standard. But whether it was the old family standard or the new family standard, our family knew something very important about technology, and that was the family had a plan. You do not deviate from the plan. And when you're older, you can make your own plan, but while you're in the home with the family group, we will all follow the family plan. And there was a reason for that too. So the reason that we followed the family tech plan was because technology isn't just about one person. When you're in a group of people, when you live with a group, the technology that one person uses ends up impacting the entire group. I remember I had a good friend years ago, and this was when computer usage was really starting to uptick. In fact, and I don't even know if every home had a computer at the time, and laptops were still a new thing. So it was a long time ago, but this friend said to me her husband had a lot of work to do for his work, and he had to have a laptop computer. So I remember that she hated that laptop computer so much because it followed him everywhere. And she said it used to be that he would go and do his work at work, and then he would come home and he would be at home. But now he brings his work home with him on this computer. It's like a square-headed girlfriend. That's what she said. And I thought, you know what? Look at that. So back in the day, we saw these devices as things that would get in the way of relationships. Now we embrace them so much, and we don't even always recognize what they're doing to our relationships. But a wise family takes a big picture view at what that family is, who they are, where they're headed as a group, and decides how technology is going to interact with the family. So this book here, Parenting a House United, is of the 11 books I've written, probably the most read, I would say. This outlines how to set up your environment in your home so that the family can learn self-government. Well, one of the key things that you do is you create a picture, a vision for yourself in the future. So years down the road, what do we want our family to be like? What do we want the relationships to feel like? What types of things are going to be of the utmost importance to our family? And it talks you through how to set up what I call a family vision, where you plan those things out and you present it to the family to get the entire family invested. So that process should be the underlying feeling or reason why you would even create a tech plan for your family. If you have a goal of what type of a family you want to be, then you need to ask yourself, is technology helping us become that type of a family, or is it possibly hurting us and making it so that we're going to have a more difficult time becoming that type of family that we envision for our home? So the first part of our 4-part family plan is to make sure that you decide ahead of time what type of a family you want to be. Create a family vision and get everybody invested in that. The second part of creating a family tech plan is to create a family standard for your family. So once the family has a family vision and you've created a type of a structure where you communicate with each other regularly, we call that family meetings in the teaching self-government structure, then you at a family meeting start the process of developing what we call a family standard. So the family standard is the list of things that the family will do and won't do. They're basically the instructions and no answers that the family adopts and they decide to live by. So these might include things like a language standard or a modesty and grooming standard, a standard related to what we will take into our bodies and won't take into our bodies, the way that we'll treat each other, and of course, things like technology and the way that we spend our time also comes into play. Because your home is really this place where you're going through the development process for each child and each person that's there. And technology right now is actually a part of child development that we have to address because it's actually getting in the way of healthy childhood development. And that's why we must have a good family tech plan. So we create the family vision, we decide to establish family meetings to check up on how we're doing to have that family meeting or that family vision. And then while we are having a family meeting, we open the conversation of what do we want our standards to be related to these things. And so we could say related to health and nutrition, related to the way that we spend our time. And so we need to bring up technology in there. Part of this preset family plan, this family standard, should include things such as when a child is using a device, do they get to do that by themselves? Or do there need to be other people around? Is there a certain time of day that that's appropriate? Or maybe it's only once a week. If they are using it daily, how much time would be used on that daily? And what are the rules for turning it off? So I believe in teaching children how to accept no answers and follow instructions. Those are two of the 4 basic skills of self-government that I teach here on this channel. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how to do those skills in this particular video, but I'm just going to say that your child should know that when you give them a no answer, that they need to be able to say okay, stay calm about it, drop the subject. So meaning turn off the device, hand over the iPad, whatever it is, and not have a problem. But if they don't, that you'll have a plan in place for how to correct them. So this brings me to part number 3. Part number 3 is making sure that you do consistent follow through and correction when needed when someone's not following through with the plan. Now, anytime we do corrections, we want to make sure that we're calmly doing those corrections. That's important. But one of the things that keeps our corrections with the children calm is making sure that we follow an exact script. Now, that's another skill of self-government that I've talked about on this channel multiple times, so I'm not going to go into detail about all of the 7 steps for how to do an effective correction. Just make sure that you're using those steps for doing an effective correction when you do the correction for technology as well. That will give the children more of an opportunity to feel like it's predictable, they know what to expect, and hopefully they won't have a meltdown or a problem when you go into that correction. Part number 4 is additional family meetings. So we need to check up on how our family is doing at becoming the type of family we want to be. So that means that we need to schedule regular family meetings where we see how it feels in our family. Are we getting closer to what that vision should be? And how is technology playing in? Do we need to dial more things back? Do we need to take a complete break from technology? That would be something that would be decided in a family meeting. And I encourage you to do that. If you feel like technology is getting in the way of your attachment, connection, and communications as a family, then absolutely technology should be the first thing to go. The relationships need to be the top priority in the family. So I think it's time for me to break down this 4-part tech plan into more details. So that detailed information will be in my next video called How to Calm Digital Chaos and Raise Tech Responsible Kids.